What's going on, guys? MurderInc here, back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today I have a cool video for you. I want to show you, in my opinion, the best way on how to climb in the arena, how to further improve your arena progression no matter what rank you're in. So let's get right into it. The first thing that I think is really important is options. Having different options is probably what I would rank the highest as far as how to successfully push in the arena with the lowest lose rate possible. What I mean by options is it might not be easy for someone who is a bit earlier on in the game, but there are definitely still options as far as rare champions go, epics, even uncommons if you look at their kits close enough. So what I would recommend to you for starting is have a speed leader, have someone who can clear debuffs from your team, have someone who has the potential to clear buffs from the enemy team, have an AoE damage dealer, have a single target damage dealer, and look for someone who can do some pretty nasty CC work to the other team. And if you aren't currently doing this now, I guarantee you see a huge jump from where you can actually be in the arena without struggling. The second thing I want to talk about are stats. That seem to be pretty straightforward, but there is a formula I personally use as far as stats that is a bit more difficult once you get into higher platinum, but overall I think it's a great place to start and can absolutely help you going forward. So the stat I really want to talk about today, well, the two stats for example, would be resistance and accuracy. Now you hear all the time you need crazy accuracy for platinum, crazy resistance for platinum. Now this is where that information really helps people who are following it. If you don't have a resistance team, people don't build resistance. You just don't see it. So if you want to gain some type of edge over people who are kind of following this a bit blindly, as far as if your accuracy, you have to stack a ton of accuracy. If your resistance, stack a ton of resistance. Do what I did with my Trunda here. She has 181 resistance, and accuracy I tried to keep low for a kit. So accuracy, let's not focus on that as much, but resistance here is key. Now, surprisingly, she does resist a fair amount of debuffs on teams who aren't really focused on accuracy as much, and they're kind of using their kits as like a secondary option. So what I'm saying by this is anyone who has a multi-use damage dealer, someone like an Angar for his provoke, let's say they're using Angar to, yes, land the provoke, but they really want to reflect damage to do some damage to Rotos, help kind of contain Rotos a bit more. Having resistance, especially on someone like Trunda, whose passive does scale with resistance, 181 is absolutely enough to resist debuffs on anyone who has a secondary debuff that they can apply, but they aren't really focusing. Now, this might not seem important, but it can actually be a win condition. So the perfect example, without using an extreme like Angar, would be Arbiter. Arbiter does have a weaken on her A1. Having 181 resistance on a Trunda, it lowers the odds significantly without altering the gear too much to have that weaken debuff land on Trunda, and that could end up being a win condition for your team. Trunda survives by not having a weaken on her, then Trunda is able to clear the team and you win the match. So it's small things like that that can really add up. Another example on resistance and accuracy for that matter is Rotos the Lost Groom. Lots of people are using Rotos the Lost Groom now, and in my opinion, they're going over the top with how much damage Rotos is doing to enemy teams. There is no reason that I can think of where your Rotos needs to be hitting someone like a Duchess without any debuffs on them for 140,000 damage. If you are stacking 140,000 health or more on a Duchess, you are next level with your gearing, on top of being able to keep your speed high, so on and so forth. With that being said, I don't have incredible stats. I do have 278 critical damage, which is a lot, but the attack is a lot lower than I normally have on champions. However, one thing to notice is I did give him 150 accuracy as well as 229 resistance. So as mentioned before with Trunda, this is enough resistance to give me a good foothold in blocking lots of debuffs oncoming if the person is not stacking a ridiculous amount of accuracy. Not a lot of people think about it, especially before platinum and early platinum, so this is a good amount of resistance to give a champion to really increase your success rate going forward. So some people might be hearing this and say, I always give my debuffer 300 accuracy, 400 accuracy. Now think about a champion like a Sylar or someone you want really fast, a Lissandra for example. Even Arbiter, as mentioned before, having the ability to clear buffs from champions as well as apply a weaken. Champions like that are very hard to stack accuracy on and have over 320 speed, which is kind of a minimum level if you do want to get into the higher tiers of arena. So having someone like Protos with 229 resistance really puts a hinder and could be the reason that any turn meter manipulation going onto Rotos gets resisted very easily, just because he has a bit higher than average resistance on him. Alright, so the third point I want to make is knowing how to read your opponent's team. Some factors are definitely you cannot predict as far as how fast they're going to be, but you can absolutely look at the breakdown of their team and say, this is what they have, this is what I should be looking out for. Let me see what champions I personally have that can help me succeed in going forward. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at this team here. They are running an Arbiter, Venus, Smash Lord, and a Seer. So the current team I have right now is not the team that would best suit me to go after a team like this. They do have the capability to strip all of my buffs. Even if they aren't faster, Smash Lord could be built fast enough to cut off my damage dealer, so we do want to prevent that. Now let's think about who I have as a damage dealer. Trunda is a fantastic champion because she actually performs better when a block debuff is on the enemy team. With that being said, she is going to be the damage dealer of choice for this match. A champion that I am less inclined to use is going to be Duchess, because they do have a Seer on the team, and Seer can definitely affect the way things are going to work as far as putting up buffs, having them instantly stripped by Seer, so that's just not going to be as beneficial. The one thing I see already is, since I don't have my Hegemon built for accuracy and it doesn't really matter that they do have a debuff cleanser, I'm going to go ahead and put Hegemon in right away. Second champion I'm definitely going to consider changing is Angar. Angar is better used for me personally as a counter to Rotos. So what I'm going to do now is look at my options, see what I can do. As of right now, a Resurrection champion is going to help me a lot more in a situation like this. So with that being said, I am going to place a Raglan in. Not only can she clear debuffs on my team, such as the defense down and weaken that Venus can apply. So let's get right into this battle and go over the team I picked and see how it works against this enemy team. So starting off this team match, we're going to see, obviously Hegemon is going to go first, and we'll see whose Arbiter is faster. So my Arbiter did appear to be faster at the time, so let's go ahead and boost my team. Now they have boosted, so it is likely that next person to go is going to be the Venus. If I was watching the turn meters correctly, the Venus is going to go, and then the Seer is going to go because my Trunda is not fast enough. So let's see if we can get lucky and boost the turn meters and see if we can disrupt this order from happening. Alright, so I did forget to mention Smash Lord. That's unfortunate. Now what we're going to try to do is we're going to pull like a really risky play, and this is the exact reason why I did choose to bring a Resurrection champion into the mix here. I'm going to revive Trunda with a full turn meter and see if her damage is enough to one-shot the team. That is going to be a win condition for this match. Revive Trunda. Now let's use the A3, and almost enough. Let's heal ourselves up a bit, use Trunda's A2, and this is game, set, match. So that was just one example on how you can approach an enemy team, really calculate things, look at what they have compared to what you have, break everything down. You don't have to take as much time as I just did. Once you get good at it, it'll be second nature to you on what to pick and what not to pick, but these champion changes in your team comms will improve your ability to climb, and it will actually shock you. You will be one tier higher, 50 spots higher in platinum, and you'll say, I can't believe how well this is working just because I let's say you added 2 more champions to your rotation that you normally had in your vault. You said, I could use them, but I'd rather stick to one team. This is the much better option. So now let's take a rather difficult team. We have an Arbiter, a Sifi, a Rhodos. So already we have a power 3 right there. 2 revives, defense up, block debuff, increase speed, Rhodos, who's an absolute pain. But we also have a Valkyrie, whose turn meter increases with the more buffs I put onto my team. So this can be an absolute problem for me. So let's think about what I have and what I can do to make this worse for their team. The first thing I'm absolutely going to need is a buff cleanser, and my buff cleanser is Ceres. Now that we have someone who strips buffs, we have to consider the fact that they do have 2 turn meter boosters, and I do not currently have 2 set up for Arena right now. So my options on how to approach this is don't go first unless my speed is higher, but try to interrupt their order. It's very important to know that you can interrupt someone's order, especially if you're going to be going in front of their damage dealers. That can absolutely cause a problem, but we don't want to be too quick because we want the increased speed, defense up. Block debuff isn't huge because, as mentioned, I could just use Trunda and use that to my advantage. But Valkyrie shield is going to be a problem. Usually I like to assume the teams I'm facing are extremely geared, so that is one way to approach it. I'm not going to use Hegemon because Hegemon can proc a counterattack, especially when built with as much damage as I have, or a Rhodos, and he can just go on a killing spree and wipe out my entire team. So with that being said, the team I have picked is Arbiter, Duchess, Ceres, and Rhodos. Rhodos works here instead of Trunda because I run the risk of, if the enemy team's Rhodos gets a turn before my Trunda, he will one-shot Trunda and the match will just be over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a block debuff of my own, less for the block debuff, more to use Duchess as a reduced damage, as well as make sure that their Rhodos focuses my Duchess instead of any other of my champions first. So let's give this team a shot and see how we do. So we started the match. We did end up going first, so that is a great sign already. As we can see there, Valk just went and Sifi went. Their whole team actually just went. So we have a counterattack here, and now it is our turn to go. So let's double turn meter boost here. Unfortunately, I wanted Ceres to go next, but she did not. Let's take out Arbiter if we can. As you can see, we procced an extra turn there. Go after Sifi. Didn't do a ton of damage. We do still have another shot to go. Go for Sifi again. Extra turn once again. You gotta love Rhodos, right? Another extra turn, so he's just having great RNG now. Not the best showcase for what I'm trying to do here, but you can't really anticipate things like this. Now Rhodos versus Rhodos. And now is where we can strip debuffs. Obviously, there was nobody left to strip. So we can just poke down this Rhodos, and we won here. Like I was saying before, this was not the greatest example of what I could have done just to play it out for you, and not that you couldn't on your own. If Rhodos didn't get extra turn there, that's when Madame Ceres would have gone, stripping the counterattack, the shield buff, the block debuff, defense up, and increased speed. She was an essential tool there, even though Rhodos stole the show, proccing Relentless and extra turns so many times. Alright, so the final battle that I want to go over here is this team that I'm going against. This is going to be more specific to someone who has a Hegemon on their team and something like that. So what I would do here is, I'm not looking to compete with their speed. I don't know what it is. It could be fast. This is definitely a dangerous team. They don't have a huge damage dealer, but if you don't know, Vizier Ovelis does have potential of doing a lot of damage. They do have double ally attack on their team. That can definitely make this scary if they snipe 2 separate targets back to back, which could be a problem for me. What I'm going to do here is try to one-shot them before the match even starts. Thankfully, this is possible because I have a double Hegemon team. I'm going to put Xavi as leader to increase the attack. I'm going to run double Hegemon, then as a fail-safe, I'm going to run the Sand Lashed Survivor. I don't think she's going to do a lot, especially against an ally attack team. That's probably one of her weaknesses, but let's see how this match goes. So starting off on the map, obviously having 2 Hegemon, I will go first. The goal here is to one-shot them before they get a turn. So as you can see, that worked well. Not everyone's going to have double Hegemon or a Hegemon at their disposal, but this is just another example of looking into the team that you're fighting, doing some prep work beforehand, figuring out the pros and cons. It is important not to overthink things, however, because that can also lead to a loss. So once you get more comfortable with things, you'll get a firm grasp on how to approach each team and how some things are just inevitable. You never know what kind of gear sets they're wearing. You don't know the speed orders of the team. So it's not uncommon to lose a match and saying, I don't know why this happened. I planned everything out perfectly. Happens to me all the time. I'll have a perfectly placed team that counters the team I'm facing, and they'll have something weird with their speed, or they'll have some strange gear set that completely messes everything up, or they just have a Rotos and they get 9 turns in a row and you lose. So there's only so much planning you can do with certain comps, but this can absolutely increase your success in any single bracket as far as progression in the arena. Alright guys, as always, thanks a bunch for watching. The next video I do plan on doing is a showcase of what Sifi and Rotos can do when paired together in the arena. Really excited to show you that. I know not a lot of people have them, but surprisingly, it seems like when you're fighting an arena, everyone has them, so I think it's a really cool combo, as well as showcasing what they can do together. I'm going to go over with you how to counter a team with both of them to further improve your success in the arena. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment below on what you thought. If you want to see more arena videos, what else do you guys want to see? I'm listening. Thanks a bunch to all my viewers and my Patreons. Appreciate you guys a lot, and until next time, peace out.